Hi there, I'm Heather, and welcome to our second episode of Wear Your Damn Knits. Today we'll look at 3 different outfit ideas and talk about ways to wear our damn knits. I'm wearing my Harvest Cardigan, which is by Tin Can Knits. It is one of their free patterns. I made this in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the Caution colorway. This was the first adult sweater I knit, and as you can see, I've got some not great pickups along the button band. It's a little gappy, but I don't care. I love it. I wear it anyway. It took me a long time to actually knit an adult size sweater. I first learned to knit way back in high school. My mom taught me, but it didn't really stick. I was much more of a sewist for a really long time. And in fact, it wasn't until I had my older child that I really needed to shift from sewing. Sewing wasn't something that I could do easily in my small house. I didn't feel it was very safe to do around my child. So I wanted something that I could do that was crafty, that was more portable, that was much easier to pick up and put down. So I asked my mother-in-law, who is a big knitter, if she would help me relearn how to knit. And then I dove in. So I started knitting regularly. But there's a reason that my Ravelry name and my Instagram name are Impatient Knitta. I am not patient. So I tended to knit smaller items for a really long time. Hats, cowls, baby blankets, baby sweaters. I dove into baby sweaters, even socks. But I just was really intimidated by the idea of knitting a large garment. I was afraid I'd lose interest. I was afraid I wouldn't finish it. I also, for a long time, I knit one thing at a time. So that meant that, when you get to that point where you need to pay attention or where it's too big to carry around, then I wasn't knitting on it if it wasn't in a good position. So it took me quite a while to finish things. And it wasn't until the pandemic and I discovered knitting podcasts, audio podcasts. And it was the Knit Picks podcast that Kelly Petkin started way back when. And she was talking about why she knits multiple projects at a time and sort of how she goes about doing that. And honestly, that changed my knitting for me. I now generally have 3 or 4 projects going on at once that I'm actively working on. I typically have, something portable, something kind of mindless, stockinette, like a hat. Poca Poca hat's perfect for that. I often have a pair of socks. I usually have a sweater, and then maybe like a shawl or something where I'm, a shawl or color work hat or something like that, where it's maybe a little bit of skill building. Once I started doing that, once I started having those 3 or 4 projects and being very intentional about the types of projects I was working on, and I took off. Like I just started knitting so much more. I went from a regular knitter to an avid, really prolific knitter. And that's where I am today. So let's look at this Harvest cardigan. Even with its imperfections, let's look at it 3 ways. So the first look is our everyday classic. That's a basic look I'd wear, every day. Think jeans, casual shoes, some fun accessories. Here I'm wearing a medium color pair of perfect vintage jeans by Madewell, a striped boat neck, long sleeved tee from the Gap. Stripes are one of my mainstays, so I do like having some solid knits that I can wear with my stripes, and this is perfect. I love the gold with the navy. I think that's really sharp. I'm also wearing some Reebok sneakers, and then I've got a nice little navy Claire V handbag with a little pop of red, and then my Harvest cardigan. The elevated workday is a little more polished with third pieces, trousers or skirts, and maybe some professional elements. This one is maybe pushing the envelope for some of you, but many people can wear denim to work, so we're going to give it a try. I actually bought this denim dress from Madewell for a Halloween costume, but I really wanted to find a way to wear it that didn't feel costumey, right? It felt more like a casual work look. So here I've styled it with a brown Fry belt, brown riding boots by Sam Edelman, tights, a bright tote that I bought in Venice many years ago, and my Harvest cardigan. I love the way this turned out. It's Again, a way to take something that felt a little costumey for me and make it approachable and comfortable. Finally, the wild card is an unexpected look, for me anyway. In today's wild card, I paired a bright gold loose top by Madewell with black kick-out jeans. They have a little bit of a flare at the bottom and they're slightly ankle length. They're supposed to be cropped, but I'm 5'2", so they're ankle length. I've got those with Timberland boots and my Harvest cardigan. This one is a wild card for me for two reasons. First, I don't usually love black with yellow or orange. Again, I think it feels a little too costumey. But the muted black here, I do like. It's almost more of a charcoal gray leaning. And then secondly, the double gold is a stretch. I really am very likely to do one single pop of color rather than multiple colors, but I am trying to branch out, hence the wild card. So I do like how this turned out. Let's talk about recent finishes. In episode 1, I mentioned that I was working on some socks for my friend Julie. Well, they are done. This is the colorway. I think I said last time it was Octopus Garden. It's actually Octopus Blossom. I knit all my socks 2 at a time, toe up, using Melissa Morgan Oakes patterns. I pretty much use basic formula on these. I did do an Eye of Partridge heel. I did not bother matching stripes. Julie gets what she gets and she's happy about it. I did make these a little bit longer than the sort of the standard. And then I always do a knit one front and back at the cuff so that's a nice stretchy cuff. You don't see this little ruffle when you wear them. But even if you did, oh well. And then here's that Eye of Partridge heel. I really like the way that turned out. I'll do that again, just for something different. So those are for Julie. I love making things for people. I know, but I don't know. I like to knit a lot and I don't necessarily need as much as I knit. So it makes me really happy when other people wear things and enjoy things that I've knit. The other finish I have down here is the Pressed Flowers Kerchief by Amy Christophers. This is another free pattern. It's a mosaic slip stitch little kerchief. And this is for my good friend Jenny. She likes to wear a little headband. So that's what this is. So I'll be adding some strings here so she'll be able to tie it under her hair. This has not been blocked, which is why it's curling like crazy, but I wanted to share it with you. This was a fun little slip stitch mosaic knit. I made it out of Drops Lima in this sort of charcoal gray colorway. And then this is just some Patton's Classic in Ecru. Just really nice, neutral, fun, easy, free little pattern. Highly recommend. So what have I been doing for the past couple weeks? Well, I was sick. I was actually quite sick for about 3 weeks. So that's why it was so long between episodes 1 and 2. I hope you came back. Glad you did. But one of the things I've been working on is that polka hat. So I finished the first with the fingering weight yarn, and now I have started with this great bright orange mohair. The fingering weight is hedgehog fibers, part of the, I believe it was like confetti colorway, so a sort of a limited time colorway. And then this is, I want to say, Knit Picks Aloft. Let's look. I have it right here. It is Knit Picks Aloft in the Solar Flare Heather. And here's that hedgehog. It was hedgehog sock yarn. Confetti Club 2023 March. Right there. Backwards. Okay. Love this pattern. I think it's really cute. And this is for my good friend Shauna. She has a beautiful pit bull named Dolly, and she walks Dolly quite a long distance every day. So she wears safety colors, and I want to give her a nice bright hat to keep with that safety color. This pattern is from Moon and Turtle. by Kiyomi and Sachiko Bergen. Great book. Love this pattern. This is my second Poca Poca hat, and I've already got plans for another one. The other piece I've been working on is the Isabelita by Casapinka. And this is a shawl with just some nice little contrast color in there, little stripes, slip stitches, knit, purl, really, really nice, easy pattern. But there's a story to the yarn, so let's get to the story. So this yarn is this beautiful tonal verdigris. And my husband bought it for me because I was reading this book, which I love, The Secret Lives of Color. It actually tells stories about 75 different colors, like pigments, shades, dyes, hues, and how they came about, how they were used, sort of whether they were ancient or modern. It's a really cool book. I really, really enjoy it. In fact, I'm holding off the last section because I don't want to be done with it, even though I know I could just read it again. But where this came about was in this book, they talk about the color verdigris. And I was sitting there reading next to my husband, and I said, there's verdigris. And I said, I've always wanted some verdigris yarn. And I just love that color. It's so pretty. And so he went and bought me 3 different kinds of verdigris yarn. For no reason. He just wanted to. This is why we keep them alive, right? This is why we let them stay. I'm just kidding. He's a great guy. So the yarn I'm using for this Isabelita is this fantastic tonal verdigris. And this is by Angelica's Yarn. And this is the Araucania Huasco sock kettle dye in the verdigris. And then the contrast color, I'm just using a natural fingering weight sock yarn from Twice Sheared Sheep. And that is the Isabelita, which I just love. It's just such a fun little knit. Love my Casapinka. Now, let's talk about the other 2 verdigris yarns. So this is actually kind of what inspired the whole verdigris in the first place, is this how it goes from the variegation of that bronzy coppery color all the way through to that true verdigris. This is from Fiber Optic Yarns in the verdigris colorway. And I actually am going to make a Poca Poca hat for myself with this as the fingering and this Knit Picks Aloft in the, I don't have my glasses on, hold on, Kanai colorway. So this nice teal. I think those will look really nice together and give some fun contrast. So that's going to be something I knit for myself. And then the other verdigris yarn that Christian got me is this Tenderfoot Queensland Collection Merino. It's almost like a slightly thick and thin. It's super squishy. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this one yet, but I really, really love the feel of it. I don't know if it's going to be maybe a cowl. Cowl could be kind of nice to wear with this Poca Poca hat. I don't know. But so that's on the radar too. Again, just a really nice verdigris color. Thanks for joining me for episode 2 of Wear Your Damn Knits. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back. Please drop any questions, comments, pictures, like, subscribe, share. I'm really having a lot of fun with this, and I hope you are too. Take care, keep on knitting, and I'd love to see how you wear your damn knits.